Hey everyone, welcome back to Lilac Oaks Farm. As you can hear the goose going off in the background, we have a storm coming this afternoon to tomorrow evening. So we're supposed to get about anywhere from 4 to 8 inches. We'll see, because every time we get a storm in the last few years, it's always been over a foot, and then we don't get really much anything after that. So we'll see. But anyway, so I figured I'd bring you all along as I need to clean out my chicken's coop again, and I need to put some fresh bedding in their nesting boxes because it's going to get really wet and they're going to bring that all in on their feet, and talk about 5 illnesses chickens can get in the winter if we are not paying attention to what they need. So let's go dive in. The first illness that they can get in the winter, if your temps go below freezing, that is, ours is 32 degrees, after that it is freezing, the negatives are what I mostly worry about. They can get frostbite on their comb and wattles. So what I like to do is to make sure their coop is draft free and they have a lot of bedding underneath that is clean and fresh as much as I can be, and that there's relatively low moisture. That is where they breathe out and in and it goes up. That will really help prevent. And my chicken's not gonna like this too well, but I don't have any lovey-dovey chickens. So, but I want to talk about frostbite while I got her for a second. So it's very important for the comb, right here, you can see your comb, and wattles, to, you can put some bag balm on them to keep them from getting frostbite. You can use Vaseline if you have that, but I prefer the bag balm because it's much thicker and it will stay on longer. And I can't keep holding her because she does not, like I said, I don't have any chickens left that really like to be held. Though sadly the one that I had that loved to be held passed away, so I don't have any new ones. But I'm gonna get this one before she tries to eat my face off. Respiratory infections are because of the cold, damp, it's the winter weather. We have snow, melts, rain, melts, all that. And you can even get that in the spring and the fall. You can get it any time, but it's really the most important during the winter to try to prevent that, because they're more cooped up. They're in their coop longer than they normally are in the rest of the time of the year. So with respiratory infections, it is very important to make sure your coop is very hard though in the winter, especially where I live, that it's clean, there's no moisture. You want to make sure it is well ventilated. That means anything above their head, there's ventilation, it'll go out, so there's no moisture. Also the bedding, that is why it's very important to keep the bedding deep bedded or clean if you live in an area that you can actually clean your bedding more than we do. So, because that will help prevent them from getting respiratory stress or bacterial infections. It will reduce that. Another thing, which I sadly didn't do, is overcrowding. So because I was going in the winter, I wanted all my kind of separate different chickens. I wanted to put them all together, and I overcrowded them, and that could be another problem in itself. But we've moved some so it releases that stress of that, so that's less respiratory infection they could get, because there's too many in an area, and that's a lot of moisture going up, and a lot of other things can happen too with overcrowding. If you do see some signs of respiratory stress or respiratory infection, the product that I suggest to use is VetRx. Put a little drop under their wings, because as you know, chickens tuck their heads under to sleep. And you can also do a little bit in some warm water and a spray bottle, which is what I do. I do a mist on all my birds. I just go through and mist them. And it's kind of like, to me, it's Vicks that you used to put in your vaporizer when I was growing up. So, and that's kind of what VetRx is. It's basically Vicks for the chickens. all these symptoms, if you reduce all that, that will help them get better faster, and that will reduce any respiratory issues that you could have in your coop. Oh, Day-Day. Right there. Oh, Day-Day. There you got Buddy. And then Screamer. My babies. They can't. Screamer, her ankles are gone, but she can still walk on them. Buddy walks a little bit, and old lady really can't. So they're my babies. So the next issue could be dehydration. Being that we're in winter and the water keeps freezing, unless you're using an electric waterer, then your chickens will be fine. But here, I don't use the electric water. There's no outlets that are close, convenient enough. And using an extension cord sometimes is not convenient, because then it's another cord in the way, and the chickens actually have a chance of pecking it. So I don't use that. We just refill it in the morning. We dump it out at night, because they do not drink at night. I think a chicken laid an egg. But dehydration does cause, even to humans, a lot. So it's very important to make sure that they have fresh water in the morning up until they're ready to go to bed. Because when they go to bed, they don't need water. But what happens to their body when they don't have it, just like us, it doesn't work right. So there'll be less eggs, and they also need the water for their food and all that, just like the ducks. That is very important. So let's go do some more cleaning. This is the roosting room. I have to clean here up. I have a chicken that likes to sleep here and poop everywhere. So gotta keep it clean. Number 4 is the lack of sunlight, or basically vitamin D deficiency, which a lot of us have if we're not out in the sun enough. And being that we're in winter, the chickens just aren't in the sun enough. So you will need to supplement vitamin D. If you don't know, you can use various products. Like I use Poultry Cell and Rooster. It's a Rooster Booster. It's a vitamin electrolyte. It's a little powder. I will make sure the links to those products are down in the description box, because I've used them for years. Poultry Cell was very hard to find past few years during COVID. It's now up to $20 for a bottle, where Rooster Booster vitamin electrolyte mix is about $10 for a little thing. I use both for both ducks and the chickens, and it works wonderful. The Poultry Cell has more vitamin, actually it's more niacin in it for the ducks, where the electrolyte vitamin does not, but it has the electrolytes that they need for helping with, avoiding dehydration. And they need vitamin D also to absorb calcium so they can make our lovely eggs. So you need to provide your chickens and ducks, if you have those, both need it, some calcium, whether it's oyster shell or kale or something else where they can get some calcium outside from their normal feed, because there's not enough in some of the feeds for them to get calcium. And you can actually use artificial lighting. I have daylight in here. I only leave it on for about a few hours till bed, because I shut it off just before bed so they can go in. It's just actually, I use it to help keep their coop a little warm while they're out and about, and they can come in here and get warm. You can use, if you have the fluorescent, like the T8 lights, you can use those. So it all depends on what you want to do for your bird and how you live. This is how I do it here for ours. You can actually also, for more calcium, if you can use their eggshells. So you can actually make your own egg powder, and you could sprinkle it in their food and give them calcium back. That way you just dehydrate their egg a little bit in the oven for about, just enough to make it nice and crispy, and then you can run it through your own food processor and make a nice little powder. So just another option that you can use. But that vitamin D is very important into the production of your eggs.
Come on, cowboy. Push your butt. Push your back. Come on. There you go. Go on, baby. Go on.
Okay, so the last illness or disease is the parasites, whether it's lice or mites, which actually hits very home to me because that is what we've been dealing with for the last few years. And no matter what action I take, it's still there. So it's an ongoing battle. But it does happen to a lot of us. So it's frustrating, but don't feel like you're a bad chicken tender, because you're not. Mine crept in when my mom was passing away in 2020. And then I went through the grieving process after she passed. So I didn't pay attention to in here. I didn't even pay attention to my ducks. From 2020 to 2021 in the spring, because my mom passed that. So it's grieving process for everybody's different. I didn't really come out of it until later. But anyway, when I did, I didn't pay attention to what was going on in here. And when I finally did, there's these things that my chicken scales. Why is my chicken scales lifting up? Why are they? So it's been an ongoing battle. And yes, I have tried Vaseline. I've soaked them in Epsom salt. And you soak them and then you put Vaseline. I find that Vaseline just doesn't stick. I want something that's going to stick on those legs and kill what's underneath that's eating their skin, that's eating their scales, that's pushing everything up, right? So that's leg mites. I ended up making a bag bomb. This is why I love bag bomb so much. And DE mixture. So I throw some DE in, mix it. It was really thick. I soaked my chickens and I wiped their legs off, and then I put that, I literally like my hands were covered, and I put that on their legs, and then it lasted on their legs for 3 days before it was finally wore off, and then I needed to do it again. I still have more chickens that it's a constant I need to work on that with, but it is so much better than what was going on before. So that's another idea. So how did they get the leg mites? I don't know. It could have been another chicken. It could have been they didn't get to go and dirt bath enough. I don't know how they got it. Or I could have brought a chicken in that had it and I didn't see it on their scales. I don't know. Like I said, that year was really rough, so I didn't pay attention. So now it's a fight. So I do have a couple that I still have issues with, and I don't want it spread to my whole flock. So that is something that I'm trying to share with you to help you, that parasites do happen in winter, and it's important to try to best you can, because I know life happens, to really keep an eye on your birds and their legs, mainly their legs in the winter. As far as the lice goes, there is lice. They can get lice. I haven't seen too much of that. I've mostly seen beating each other up and pecking. But for lice, what I use is DE. So when I treated them for their leg mites, I actually put DE on them, and that seems to help. And when they have their dirt baths outside in the winter, it's very hard, but I try to make a box that I put sand in, and I put DE in that sand, so that way that will help with lessen any chances of them getting mites. And this is why it's so important not to overcrowd your coop, and I did that, and that is what happened this past year. But they didn't spread the leg mites because a lot of them are healing from that. I also spread DE in their nesting boxes, which helps to prevent carrying of lice or even leg mites or anything. So I make sure I live with DE, like that stuff is the bomb, and I use it everywhere. So when I clean their room, the first thing besides lime, because I do use lime to help any moisture, and that's especially for the ducks, but I use DE on my chicken's floor to make sure that there's nothing gonna be here. I sprinkle the whole room with DE. Nobody's in here when I do it. And then I use a vinegar to, right now it's winter, so it's kind of hard, but I normally use a vinegar to spray the air to help lower because it's a dust, so I don't want anything happen to my chickens. But anyway, just something for you to think about that's happened to me, and I wanted to share it with you just to help spread the knowledge that happens. It does happen. I mean, sudden death happens even to chickens still. Like the one day they're fine, the next day you walk in and you're like, what the heck? So it does happen. You're not the only one. I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments down below if I missed anything about the 5 chicken winter illnesses that they can get. I pretty much, those are the 5 main ones that I know of, and I've been dealing with the 5th one for quite a few years now. That it's still a struggle, and none of us are perfect. We do the best that we can for our animals, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I will see you in the next one.